Okay, so this is the first preform. I'm just going to stop here and move on to the other ones. Okay, so I'll just clean this up a little bit. Alright, so I said I was going to start with the bigger ones first, and hopefully I'll get used to this material by the time I get to the smaller ones, so I can maximize what I'm using. Yeah, they're not all going to be this long, of course. Hate to lose this, but I'm going to remove the tip of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a summary at the end of this video, because I'm kind of all over the place with the explanations. So I'll do a summary at the end of what I was trying to do and what I learned and so forth. Yeah, this area is going to be trouble up here, so there's a concrete area right in the middle of this one. Goes right through. We'll see what happens. The reason why I'm not going to use the sandstone abrader is because it wears too fast. This is too tough for this. It'll wear down way too fast. So I'm going to use the quartzite that doesn't wear down as fast. It doesn't do as good a job, but I don't want to use up my good so-called abrading stone. It is very good. Yeah, that whole area is going to be a little bit of a challenge, I think. This side not too bad, but this side I'm going to have to get rid of it somehow. The easiest way, you know, hit on a good area to start the flake, and a lot of times it'll continue. If you start, like if I started here to try to go that way, like right there, it doesn't go very far. But if I start on this side, shoot a big gigantic flake across, it could clear up a bunch of that. I'll do it now before it gets too thin. Oh, I got a defect in here that could screw up my plans. Let's see. I might strike it here. If that doesn't work, I can strike it up here. This time I'm both removing flakes and abrading at the same time. I'm holding it pretty stiff, so I get some of that abrading effect as well. And that's because I think I'm going to end up hitting right on the edge instead of up high. I mean, I can't really hit up high because of that cortex right there. So I'll use the antler, even though it's risky on the end. And we'll see what happens. Yeah, it didn't want to go. I hit it pretty hard. Let's move over a little bit. Not too bad. I hit in the right spot, but didn't take a very good flake. Yeah, I had to dig that one. I had to dig in really hard on that one, but it didn't go all the way. Oh well, we'll see what happens. Looks like I'm not going to have much choice but to hit the bad area. Just send a flake through. It has decreased my width a lot. So I'm right on the edge again. Yeah, I braided it that time. I'm going to hit it really hard right on the edge, and I don't want it to crush. Which means it's going to probably dig out a big scoop from the edge, but oh well. Took off a little flake. Yeah, if I use an indirect punch, it probably won't go anywhere. I've got to really smack it hard here. I scooped out a lot with that one. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not good. I don't see any good options. Well, that's not so good. That flake started to dive in, so I'm going to lose a lot of width again on that. I'm going to try to shoot a flake this way. It's kind of risky to shoot a flake this way when it's already messed up on this side. You know, these, I could get really close to that mess up if it's diving in. But again, I usually nap with quite a bit of risk. I try not to for the video, but I'm going to need to be very aggressive with this raw stone that's very unpredictable, just so I can blast through a lot of this junk. I don't know, let's see, I might be able to take a flake here, and if that doesn't work, if it stops short, I can come around and hit this side and then worry about this later. Although I do like to thin out the ends first. I would like to have this thinner, but I don't know. I want to kind of see what the contours are going to look like before I mess with this. Well, it tried to go. You can see how it's wrapping around on this side and wrapping a little around this side. Let's see. Let's try it. Indirect might be able to do it. It might be weakened enough. It might, I don't know, I don't see, yeah, it might have traveled underneath enough to where an indirect strike may be able to meet up with it. Not with that. Not enough force. Yeah. Well, that one had enough force. A little bit too much for the material. The flake did go under quite a bit. Okay, so that's one failed preform. It was going to be nasty anyway. I don't know if I would have been able to thin it down anyway. Okay. Why do I save those long pieces? Well, sometimes I like making drills, so those long triangular cross-section flakes sometimes makes a good drill. Let's try this hammerstone. Yeah, I can try that, but I think it's not going to go. Yeah, I should probably do it. Take it from the other side where the turtle back's closer to this side. I got to take down this edge anyway. I don't want to lose too much of this material though. Again, I got concrete, so maybe it's not so bad if I lose some of that. Ouch. A little bit too much there. Feels like deja vu with this big piece on the edge. I mean, I can zigzag it, but I want to try to get a platform right now to get something going here. Oh well. That already had a bulb in there from natural forces. Now I can develop this platform this way, maybe to get rid of some of that. It's a little bit low, which means overshot. Potential overshot. And I don't want that because I'm not very wide. Now you see what I mean? I wanted to develop some other method of, or some other edge shape to get to that turtleback, but I think what I can do is I think I have enough of this edge that I don't have to worry about it. I can take this edge down and try to shoot one this way. It's asymmetrical. I think I have enough of this edge to, justify saying that is a good edge for that side. That means I can take this one down instead of, turning it and then taking some of this edge off and using this part as my main preform. I'd rather have it a little bit longer. You know what I mean? Now, do I think they were thinking this way at the quarry site? Not really. Not when you're at a site and you've got, literally tens of tons of material. You're not really thinking, well, how do I maximize this? But I think it's important to study how to maximize it, because I don't have, tons and tons of stone. And also because I think it's seasonal. If it's winter, or if it's a time of year where you can't spend too much time in that area because of whatever reasons, maybe other people are crowding in too, you may only have a little bit to work with, that sort of thing. So I guess you can make a case for having a little bit, not too much of, I think you can make a case for not having too much material to work with, even back in the day. That really digs up my hammerstone, my mallets. I don't know if I can grab that edge with a hammerstone. Yeah. I'm probably going to have to try an overshot type of flake from this side. Okay. This edge is pretty good for a long flake. That's my backup edge. I abandoned it, when I was doing some work on here. I just kind of left it because maybe I would need it later. And it looks like I'll need it. But I do that kind of unconsciously. I wasn't really thinking this would fail so badly. And it's risky. But with this good material, it could snap. If I hit too hard. Let's see. I am going to have to use a hammerstone because there's nothing else that can drive a good flake. Yeah, a billet's just going to slip off with the amount of force I'm going to use. It almost went. Some guys can double strike. I've seen people double strike these and try to pop the edge, the step off. I don't know. Should I try it? Talking to myself here. Let's see. Yeah, alrighty. Not too shabby. See, that's just glancing off. Let me see. If this works, it looks like it's good material. If I can remove that and then remove a lot of this, looks like I'll have some room for a good point. Oh, I hit way off that time. Maybe not too bad. Maybe it's not too bad. Yeah, I hit too far that way. Let's see. It's my glasses. That's my excuse. Try to hit that again. I like that possibility of getting a double strike, maybe to take off that step fracture. Let's try that again. Well, some of it tried. That's a semi-good platform there. Yeah, it dives too much to go all the way. There's a concavity right here. So I'm just going to hit that to get rid of that lump. Let's see. Stick with this billet. I'm hitting with this side here, kind of gently. I don't want to. Yep, I don't want to do the bulbs like that. These platforms are a little bit high. That one's okay. This is a little bit high. I'm gonna try it anyway. There's not much in front of it at the beginning of the flake, so I think if I take it, if I hit high, it'll scoop out what I want. Theoretically. I don't like the way that looks in there. I think there's a... I think you're there. I remember there being a bulb in here earlier. I think that's the spot. That crack might go in a ways. You know what I mean? That bulb might go in a ways, so I should take back this edge more. Try to remove the material that contains that crack. Yeah, I can see it. Still got some room, luckily. How do I know that the edge is going to be weak? That's a good question. Sometimes I get the question about how do you know how much to abrade or grind or bevel or whatever. How do you know it's going to be weak? I think it's just from experience and knowing that this is going to be really hard to get through. I got to make sure that it's not going to crush in the beginning. I'm going to have to hit the edge again. Sometimes I don't have to hit the edge. Like if I have a steep bevel, I can hit above the edge here, but I don't have that option here. So that's why I'm beefing it up. Maybe I should use indirect for that, yeah. Alright. Yeah. I turned this to get the best and strongest area at the time on the antler. Okay, I like the option of being able to turn it around and strike where I have a good solid spot without too many dimples in it. Because if you hit with a spot that's got a lot of dimples, it's weaker than hitting with a spot that's solid. I think that's obvious, but it's not said enough, I don't think. Same with a billet. If your billet has got a lot of dimples in it, and it gets kind of crumbly when you strike, you're losing energy. I'm not sure how I'm going to get through that. See, I used less force there than I did up here on this. So this is pretty tough. So what I could do is I could trim back this edge, shift the point orientation from like this to like that. Hopefully I'll have enough room. That way I can get rid of that. And those of you who are just listening without looking at what I'm doing, you kind of miss that. But I got this really bad concrete area near the tip, so to get rid of the concrete area, I've got to move the tip over a little bit so that the concrete area is sticking out, and I can create a good platform and try to remove it. I gotta make sure I don't overshoot because that platform is pretty low. But it's important to get rid of the tough areas near the edge because you won't be able to shape it very well later if you keep it on there. Same with this one here. There's concrete there. They could come up, they could creep up when you're not paying attention, and you'll have this concrete area, and that'll of course be right where you need to remove a flake to get rid of a mistake in the middle, and you won't be able to do it. So yeah, there is some planning ahead if you think about it. I'm not sure you'll need to actually think about that when you're in the zone and just shaping it roughly. Now, I hit directly on the concrete with a hammerstone and it worked as a platform. That's kind of rare. I just kind of tried it out. it usually doesn't work. But I had the option of, you know, moving over. That concrete wasn't a really big area. But yeah, you can see the result of not establishing a good initiation to the flake by hitting the concrete. It's kind of crumbly, loses energy, and then you have a bunch of incomplete flakes. They're called incipient flakes or incipient cracks or something like that. So I kind of bevel the other way a little bit so I can take another shot at it. I'm actually spending too much time near the tip. Let's see. See, that's a lot of antler deposited on the edge, on that tough edge. Not good, by the way. Eats up your tools. So the fewer the strikes, the better. And I think that was common. The less strikes, the faster it is to make the tool, but it saves wear and tear. To make the point, it saves wear and tear on the tool. Okay, let me stop it there. It says the phone is overheating, so I'll come back to this.